right. Well, welcome into another episode of Your Marriage Matters with Ken and Shar. It's great to have you in with us. How you doing, babe?
I'm doing good. It's hot outside. We're in the middle of that California
Does that surprise you?
Dome. Well, this is a little bit excessive.
It is.
But it's pretty hot. So what I'm excited about today is that we're talking about a tool that's huge. Maybe like an air conditioner right now. How I feel about my air conditioner, because if I didn't have it, I don't know how I'd be coping right now.
It is that kind of tool.
Yes.
It's one that if you don't have it in your bag, you're going to be in the weeds really, really quick.
You're going to feel the heat.
Really often.
You're going to feel the heat all the time. So
we call this tool expectation and disappointment. So you can, just by the title, I know you can kind of tell where we're going with all of this. But what I'd love to do is just pray real quick. Yeah.
Okay.
Father, just bring encouragement, Lord, to every couple that might ever hear this. We pray, Lord, that you would just strengthen and encourage them. May your word be an encouragement to us. We acknowledge, Lord, your goodness in creating marriage for us and for your glory. So, Lord, through all this, we pray that you would advance your kingdom's work in each of our lives and families and homes. And we commit it to you now in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So let me start with a story. Yeah.
Okay.
This is a true life story. This is real life, man.
We have a lot of those.
We do. We have 3 children, and at a time when we felt like they were ready to spend some time without us having to be there. So our oldest daughter was in her teens, and we left. I think it was an overnighter, right?
I think so.
And I think we went to the beach or something. We live in Central California, so we shot over to the coast, and we gave each child things to do, right? Some responsibilities.
which didn't work great, but it's okay. It's okay.
So at the time, our middle child, my son Blake, he was doing the lawns with me and for me and stuff. So that was part of his chores from time to time. So I said, look, Blake, do the lawn while I'm gone. The summertime here, you got to cut your grass every week here where we live because it just grows out of control. And being gone on that weekend, I wouldn't have a chance to do it. So I said, do the lawn, right? And he said, Dad, you got it, man. I'm all in. So that was the deal. So we get home, and the lawnmower was...
The lawn was cut.
The lawn was cut. It was. It had been mowed. The lawnmower was out. The catcher was full of grass. It was not edged. There were other tools out and things like that when we pulled in. And I remember... oh gosh, I remember. I'm going to tell on myself here. I was frustrated.
Kenny's a lawn Nazi, so
yeah, I am.
There's an issue with the lawn.
Admittedly, I'm a lawn guy.
Yeah,
I'm praying very hard against becoming the get off my lawn guy in old age.
But
right?
he's not that picky about other things. But the lawn, for some reason, is
selectively picky.
Yes, he is.
And the lawn is something I select. So anyway, Blake, I drag him out of the house and say, son, what is the problem here? You know, I told you to do the lawn and you didn't do it. And he looked at me with confused eyes and said, Dad, I did the lawn. And I said, no, it's not edged. It's not raked. You didn't rake out the flower beds. The tools aren't picked up. Everything's not done. You didn't. And he said, Dad, you said do the lawn. And I remember it was an epiphany for me. I felt in that moment, I came under real conviction because that moment of tension between him and I was a me problem, not a him problem. And that was hard for me to accept, right? I wanted so bad to make it a him problem.
You wanted him to be a 35-year-old guy that knows how to do a lawn.
So we had this moment, and I finally looked at him. I said, son, I'm sorry. This is a me problem. I'm not entitled to one bit of my frustration or anger. This is me. You did everything I asked you to do. You did the lawn. However, from today on, when I say do the lawn, can you and I agree that do the lawn means mow it, edge it, rake it up, put all the tools away, and that is what doing the lawn means. He goes, yeah, Dad, sure, I got it, man. And we never had another problem. Never got cross-threaded over that. Not one more time. What a major lesson that was for me to learn. And I share that story because it comes from family. It comes from parent-child relationship. Now we're going to relate it all to husband-wife relationship here, because that's the focus of our podcast is making our marriages matter, man. But this crosses over into parenting. It crosses over into the workplace. If you are a boss and you are responsible for workers around you, neighbors, it really crosses everywhere. Any human relationship. This issue of expectation, disappointment is really, really important. In fact, we would probably confidently say that somewhere around 80% of all of your conflict as a married couple can be boiled down to failed expectation. I expected something. I had a built-in expectation of how something was supposed to go, how something was to be handled, or what was to happen. And when it didn't, that failed expectation bothered me. I was left with some stuff in my heart, right?
That's when you know you have a failed expectation. That's when you know you had an expectation is when you feel disappointed.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This didn't happen.
Yep.
And then you need to start reflecting on, was it your lack of communication? Right. Did the person know you had an expectation? Yeah. Sometimes they're just silent or unspoken expectations. You don't even know you have it.
Correct.
But you do.
Right. I mean, even with the story with Blake, if you'd asked me what my expectation is for the lawn stuff, I don't know that I could have answered you very well. I had never really thought that through, but clearly because of my disappointment and frustration. In fact, let's identify these things. Failed expectation always leaves us with frustration. I'm going to list 4 things.
Okay, I could probably list more.
Okay, probably. At the very least, it leaves us with frustration, anger, growing or deepening resentment, and then lastly, self-pity.
Right.
Right. I mean, this is what's left, the residual in my heart.
Basically not liking the person.
Well, that's where the bottom line is, isn't it? But at least think about those things. I'm frustrated. And when I have failed Charlene, some expectations she had of me, there's tension, right? And it comes from her frustration, possibly anger. If it doesn't get resolved, gang, it will always result in a growing, deepening, festering resentment of one another, which is so dangerous for any relationship. And there's always like a little twin sister that comes following in here that's self-pity.
The self-pity thing, really.
Oh, am I the only one that has to put up with this? You know, am I the only dad that has a 13-year-old that can't do there's that kind of junk that settles in upon our heart. So this is a really big tool, if for no other reason, because so much marital conflict that you're going to have comes from an expectation you had of your spouse that they don't come through on. And now you're dealing with those 4 things at the very least: frustration, anger, resentment, and probably some self-pity. So let's kind of hang some flesh, honey, on what these expectations, because I know there's somebody out there going, oh, dude, I just love my spouse. I don't have any expectation from them.
Right.
I'm going, okay, right. Okay. So let's say I'm one of those people, and I want to believe of myself that I hold no expectation
I'm so
of Charlene.
tolerant.
Yeah. I am so gracious that I don't care. She can have other men. She can come home tonight or not come home. She can spend all of our money up her nose in cocaine. She can scream at me, yell at me, smack me around, and I will love, serve, and honor her no matter what, because I have no expectation. Well, we all know that's folly.
It's ridiculous.
In every healthy relationship, there's expectation that keeps that relationship strong and reveals in those expectations being met, reveals love and care and concern for each other. So
expectations you should have that are right to have.
Now, not every expectation is healthy. Yeah. This was my expectation of Blake that day. Clearly was not healthy, right? He did what he understood I was asking him to do. He fulfilled my expectation as far as he was concerned.
Right.
The problem was me. My frustration, anger, if there's resentment, myself was unjustifiable. And I had to deal with that, right? And this is really kind of the beginning of Charlene and I I think trying to come to understanding about how easy it is to fail an expectation and how to get through it. So this is going to be a two-parter. We're going to do this in two parts, kind of explain some stuff in this part. And then in part two, get right down to how can we get to the bottom ground and know what she can expect from me and me from her, so that we're not constantly failing one another.
I just want to give a little history right now of the last year since Kenny's been working at home.
I don't like it when you do this, because I feel like here it comes.
No. It's all good. It's my bad. But I, have been taking care of the home for a long time. And basically so Kenny could do his job and things would be done around here. And when he got home, it wouldn't be crazy amount of work that he had to do. So this last year that he's been home, it's been a challenge. We've shared it before. It's been a challenge that we have to learn how to be married a different way when we work from home together almost all the time, which I love, but it's had its challenges at times. And I was thinking a couple months ago, wow, wouldn't it be great if like Kenny took some of the responsibilities around the house that I normally shoulder or care about, think about. And so I said, Kenny, do you think that maybe you could like do these couple of things every day? And he's like chores. And it's like, yeah, like chores, like your responsibility. And he goes, well, anytime you want anything done, you just have to ask me, which is true. He'll do anything I ask him to do. But it's like, but I don't want to have to ask you. And he I could tell he balked a little bit, didn't you?
A little bit, yeah.
He's like, well, I don't think I want to. It was telling me he didn't want to be responsible for this. He still wanted me to be responsible, I felt. And then
part of that, I got to admit, I just know I'm going to fail because I am like,
he is forgetful, but not on all things. He doesn't forget anything about football. So there you go.
I remember every play of the game.
So I know that he can remember. So I said, I want you to check the pool. I would love the pool checked every day because in this California heat, we get algae and the chemicals need to be taken care of almost every day. And then take the blower and blow the leaves down or something like that. I don't remember what it was. He's like, well, and honestly, it was so funny. He didn't really want to agree on it.
Because I'm setting myself up for failure.
Exactly.
Man.
So he's like, I don't think I can do that. Or, I'm going, okay, come on. And so we kind of went back and forth a little bit. And finally he goes, yeah, that's great.
And
he's done a great job.
All right. Are we all listening?
He has done a good, but every day he'll get up and he'll go, well, I need to go do my chores. I'm like, oh my goodness, it is so funny. But I was getting resentful that he was at home every day and had more time. And I didn't feel like I was getting the help that I wanted, but I hadn't expressed anything to him about it.
Sure.
So that was a communication that we had to have. If I would have just kept growing in resentment, then that can lead to issues in our marriage. It does, little by little by little.
I think it's totally normal that you would have some expectations of me, that shift in my workload, being home more than I ever have been. I think some expectations were totally normal.
Right.
But again, I didn't know what they were.
Right.
And till we work that out and find a way to resolve, we were stumbling around a little heated fellowship now and then.
And I'm the perfect person of wanting things done, but I don't ever express it.
Yeah.
He should just know.
She wants me to know so bad.
He should see that. And just because I see it doesn't mean that he does. And I've had to realize that, but I usually don't express.
She's gotten so much, honey. You've gotten so much better.
I've gotten better
at being open about it, because I've told her, look, I'm dumb as a rock.
No,
I don't know. I don't read minds. I don't, you need something, you got to tell me. And I can hear men all over the world nodding right now in agreement.
Just tell me. But
that they've had that conversation.
Us wives are like, but I don't want to have to tell you because I don't want to be your mommy.
It would mean so much more to me if you just knew.
Yeah. So that's always been a little bit of an issue.
So here we go. Here's some of the arenas that these expectations come in. Okay. There are, because I know people are going, I don't expect much. We've actually interviewed couples in groups that we do and stuff where we'll say, okay, I'll call a guy out. Okay, Bill, what do you expect from Jenny, your wife? Name one. And they'll stammer, and I don't know, maybe that she loved me a little bit, I go, okay, give me another one.
Mm-hmm.
And they're stuck at one or two.
Right.
But in reality,
oh yeah, they got a lot.
Bill's got hundreds.
Yeah, he does.
Hundreds. He's just never thought them through.
Mm-hmm.
And here's some of the arenas that they come in. Number one, everybody comes into
Mm-hmm.
marriage, or every believer we know comes in with spiritual expectations.
Right.
Every wife has expectations of what she thinks hubby should operate like spiritually. Oh, a giant. He should be, it's like, I think he should be like King David, Elijah, Moses, and Paul, all wrapped up into one awesome dude.
And super handsome too.
and good looking to boot. And have a 6-pack on top of everything else. So, but really truthfully, we come in with spiritual expectations, and when they're not met, we've talked to so many couples. There's a frustration.
I think that's a wife thing more than a husband.
It seems to be. I have had fewer men express frustration or something like that. Mostly women. You come in with financial expectations, what kind of provider he's going to be, or how much she should help, dual income, and for us to meet our goals. So there's financial expectations. And if a saver is married to a spender,
wow, watch out.
You're going to have to get resolve on those expectations, because you're not even thinking alike. You're on a different page.
You don't
altogether.
even look at money the same.
No. So those expectations, again, spiritual, financial. Think of giving to the Lord. Think of tithing or giving gifts and offerings to the Lord, which is a biblical precept,
right?
Part of how we worship Jesus as believers. But couples can even get embroiled where one of them wants to give above and beyond, or feels this. The other one is like going, no, that, and one can be frustrated with the other,
right?
That they're not thinking like them, right? So is that a spiritual expectation? Is it a financial? The answer is yes, both. There's social expectations.
The classic introvert marries the classic extrovert, because you marry opposites.
One gets married and says, I want my house to be filled with people all the time.
All the time.
I want it to be a party. I want to play games and experience Jesus among us.
And the in-laws to come spend the weekend with us all the time and have the grandkids here. Yep.
And that other one says, no, my home is my retreat. I don't want human beings in my house with me.
It's usually the guy.
So there's conflict there. And that's just 3 areas we've mentioned. There's so many more. There's domestic expectations. This gets to be a real problem.
What is this? Help around the house?
Yeah, well, food. Okay, so some guys, if you grew up with men, hear me, if you grew up with a mommy that fixed you breakfast every morning and catered to you, and you didn't even have to clean up your dishes, but your wife
works full time,
right? And is expecting help in that arena, right? Now you're going to have conflict over that. And you're going to bring into your marriage an expectation you never really thought through. But the first time she throws a TV dinner down in front of you, half warmed up, and says, here you go, bub, you're going to go, wait a minute, time out. I didn't think it would be like this.
Or when you come home from work, both of you, and say, what's for dinner? And she says, I don't know. What's for dinner?
What are you making?
Where are you taking me? I don't know.
Oh, Lord. You can see we're laughing because
we had all these.
We have fumbled around
every single one of
every single one of these arenas.
And I'm sure you have too.
Yeah, absolutely. Who takes those domestic expectations? Who gets the oil changed in the cars?
Kenny.
Now, I didn't know that. See, I'm learning. Who takes care of the flower beds? Charlene.
Yes.
So, but do you see how many ways you can get cross-threaded on these issues? There's parenting expectations. Who does the discipline? Who is the nurturer and all of that? You get into clearly one of the biggest arenas, sexual expectation. Each person comes in with an expectation of what their sexual life is going to look like. And rarely does it look like either one of them has imagined. There's, believe it or not, there's hygiene expectations. what my spouse should look like in year 20 of marriage.
Or smell like.
Or smell like.
I never said that.
You talking about me? I can't believe you just said that.
You smell really good all the time.
So there's those hygiene expectations, there's communication expectations. How much Charlene had an expectation that I would be a very talkative, chatty fellow, and I'm not so much.
He is with everybody else. Which is true.
Oh my gosh.
It is.
So, and there's time expectations. How much time am I home? How much time undivided am I able to give her and her me? So look, that was 6 or 8.
It can go on and on.
It does.
It goes on and on to every arena of your life because you're not the same two people. You think differently. Right. You have different perspectives. You were raised differently. We're two completely different people trying to get on board on these issues without hurting each other.
So where do these work? Let's ask the question. It's a big one. Where do these expectations come from? This becomes a problem. Most of the time, our expectations come from our life experiences.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What I saw,
I agree,
happening in my home. Their expectations come from watching too much romantic TV or reading romantic novels. I mean,
or social media.
You can get, where people splash out on social media how awesome their life is. Now, nobody's going to splash on social media their arguments in their living room and how ugly their life can get sometimes. But so you start expecting certain things and you get that, and it's filtered to us a lot of times just through life experience rather than from a biblical perspective.
Right.
What biblically should I be counting on? What are the expectations that make my marriage healthy, not filled with potholes that we hit going down the road of life that jar us at the teeth, So we're gonna turn a corner, realizing we all bring in hundreds of expectations in every arena.
Some of us thousands.
Absolutely. So let's turn a corner now and talk about what can I expect? And this is where we want to start. Now, we're going to end this episode with this thought. And then in the next episode, we're going to get into more detail of how to answer that question. What am I legitimately supposed to be expecting from Charlene?
And that's a really good question for anyone that's listening to really think about right now. You think about, what do I really expect from my spouse?
Big time.
And
if you're honest,
yes,
there's hundreds.
Right.
And
you need to get real with that because this area causes so much conflict.
Right.
The majority of your conflict will come from this.
So we're going to get real specific in our next episode with how to, when we have a different expectation and we're working through it, someone's frustrated or angry, how do we quit wounding each other through failing an expectation? But suffice it to say, this is where we start. So let's answer the question, what can I expect from Charlene? And she from me, number one, and we've talked about this before, is the very things she vowed to me and that I vowed to her 46 years ago at our wedding when we made a covenant. We entered into an oath together before the Lord. And it said something like this: I promise to love you, honor you, and cherish you, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, until death parts us. Let's just stop there for a minute. If I would, with intentionality, just do that, right, we would cut out a lot of these failed expectation problems that all couples seem to have. So what can Charlene expect from me? I'm going to put it in that framework right now. I know right now, as I'm sitting here recording this, that Charlene has every legitimate right to expect from me those behaviors, to behave towards her in ways that make her feel loved and honored. That we can use the word respected there, and cherished. We can also use the word valuable or valued there. I know that when I wake up tomorrow morning, I do well if I look in the mirror and go, okay, today, that's the legitimate expectation upon your life, Kenny, is that you behave towards her in a way that makes her feel loved and honored and valuable or cherished. And if she wakes up and does business that same way and recognizes, okay, we'll work through all those little details, but the one thing I know he legitimately can expect from me and should expect from me.
And I should give him.
Absolutely. You bet. That's hard to do. This is why
this is really hard.
This is why we started. Our very first 2 or 3 episodes were on the vow, the importance of the vow. And what we're doing right now, as we turn a corner and wrap up, is taking you right back to help resolve expectation and disappointment that comes from failed expectation. If we just start there, we're going to get a long way down the road.
Well, all marital conflict, if you go back to the vow, you can shut it down.
Absolutely.
With the vow.
Absolutely.
It's just hard to hang flesh on it. And I think that's what we'll do in the next episode is hang the flesh on how to work through these expectations and figure out what's good for our lives and what we can truly expect on the day-to-day issues that we just mentioned here, how we can resolve that. Because you think of love, honor, and cherish. You go, okay, well, how do I do that?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know. Some people just don't. In this arena, how do I do that? How do I do that?
Yeah.
So
we're going to get a little bit more specific. Let me just end with one little teaser here that the gap between what I'm expecting and what expectations floating around in my heart and what she is attaining, that distance between those two things, what the expectation is and what's being achieved, is what's killing us. How to close that gap is what we're talking about, between what is expected and what's achieved. And let's face it, I know that you're all thinking, well, the only way to do that is to compromise, lower the bar of expectation, raise the bar of what's being attained. And you're absolutely right. But now, how do we communicate that? Without shouting, screaming, and, that's where we're going, is how to work through that, get compromise, and understand what the expectations really are, and that those expectations are attainable for your partner.
Right.
Okay? All right. All right. This is fun, babe. Yeah.
It is fun.
This was a good one. Looking forward to the next episode. Hope you join us. Let me just encourage you, if you want to kind of learn more about Shar and I and about what we do, you can check into our website at kenandshar.com. And you're always welcome to drop one of us a line. You can get a hold of Charlene at shar@kenandshar.com or me at ken@kenandshar.com. And hopefully, if the podcast is blessing you and you're being encouraged and strengthened and built up in your marriage, tell somebody about it. We do not self-promote. We don't talk about it much. But we're out there, and if it's blessed you, maybe link a friend to it or something and let somebody know, hey, listen to this. This is encouraging. So we'd love for you to do that, okay?
Thank you.
You good, babe?
Yeah, I'm great.
All right. God bless you. Until next time, remember, your marriage matters.
It does.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.